Hello everybody, my name is RagingRaptor and I welcome you to a new World of Tanks quick review. Today with the Primo Victoria or Stridswagen 81, which is the first tier 8 premium Swedish medium tank and is basically the first post-buff Centurion 1 tank. Why do I call it post-buff? Because it will, the Centurion 1 in general will get a new turret. Or rather the old one with improved armor, up to 254 if I'm not mistaken, yes. But yeah, let's get into the stats of this tank. The pros of this tank is, as already said, the strong turret armor frontally. And well, as you can see, even the heat of a Spickpanzer bounces easily. The gun mantle is rather strong. Weaker parts are up here and the cupola obviously. Sure, against tier 10 tanks, tier 80Ds, tier 80Ds works, tier 90Ds not anymore. There you will start to have problems. But you also have rather good fuel range, which is at 400 base. With optics you get 440, and because this tank has a special crew with the Sabaton members, which have a Rock Brothers in Arms perk, which is like a 0 skill Brothers in Arms or a Sisters in Arms perk, you will get to this 445 meters of fuel range rather easily. You also have a rather accurate gun with 0.31 accuracy and a top speed of 50 kilometers per hour. Sadly, I have to say though that I kind of got a feeling that the soft stats don't really let this tank accelerate that fast, even though it has a better HP to ton ratio than the normal Centurion of 17.61. For that it also has 10 degrees of ground depression and well, it gets a free camouflage, which I honestly have to say doesn't look too bad. We're going to quickly stop it here. Yes, there is an autograph or a writing on the side of the turret which is saying its name. You have some equipment in the back from the Sabaton band, or basically just the chassis of them, or the cases for guitar, bass and so on. And well, the camouflage overall looks like something which the Lorraine 40 ton has. Just that it has, it has the big Swedish flag with S in the middle for Sabaton, or Sweden. Personally, I don't really think the camouflage looks really bad or really ugly. Well, this is not really to my liking because first of all, it's not part of the armor model as far as I know, and second of all, it looks like a little bit meh. Otherwise, I don't think the camouflage looks super bad. I actually like it. But to the cons of this tank. Well, as you could have guessed or could have seen, it has APCR as standard ammunition and APCR as premium ammunition. It has the exactly same penetration as the normal AP of the Centurion 1, but it's APCR, meaning it flies faster, that's a good thing. But it has worse normalization, only 2 degrees to the normal 5 degrees normalization with AP shells, and well, it loses more penetration over flight time, or rather over distance. There we go, now I got the word. Also, this tank is, well, rather accurate-ish when he has fully aimed in. I personally play the tank with tank gun rammer, optics and gun stabilizer. A friend of mine says I'm a scrub because I'm not using ratios and I should take vents in it instead of vertical stabilizer, but honestly I think the vertical stabilizer, at least for my personal playstyle, it feels better. Sadly, you also don't really have the best DPM. The 203 damage at 6.3 seconds real time is not that mind-blowing. Like 59 Patton has 200 damage more, AMX CDC also around 200 damage per minute more. So yeah, it's in the middle to the low ground, but it's not as bad as an FV4202. But FV4202, as the Centurion 1, also gets some buffs, and some rather serious ones, which involve upper front plate armor and, well, turret armor buff. To that, I got a feeling, as already said, this tank has bad terrain resistance, because even though it has a better HP to ton ratio as the normal Centurion 1 and a top speed of 50 kilometers, I don't really feel like it is, well, accelerating that much. Look, this is flat surf almost flat service and we go into 30, 40. Yeah, it's not really that cool. Also, we are at 5 kills already, but the Love him needs to make a high roll and rip Top Gun Dreams number 1. Otherwise, the aim time is also rather long with 2.2 seconds, which, well, yeah, that's why I prefer the enhanced gun lane, not the enhanced gun lane range, but the vertical stabilizer to just try to make this problem less problematic. Also, the whole frontal hole, it feels like it's Amarak everywhere. Go on YouTube and watch, search RagingRaptor, no, just kidding, you're already watching me. Okay. Watch Tau guns or like Tau missile versus Centurion 1 tank. They hit in the frontal hull part down here, and it instantly has a cook-off. What is a cook-off? Ammunition explosion when the ammunition rack is starting to burn. It's the same in this game. I fired heads on against enemy Centurion 1, and I was suddenly like, hey, why is this guy not shooting at me anymore? And then I knew it struck me. He had an Amarak. The tank is really prone to Amarak explosion and Amarak damage in general. Same as the Canavan, same as the Centurion 1, same as the Centurion Action X, same as the Leopard PTA, same as the Leopard 1, and same as the Centurion 7-1. But seriously, I need to stop this. This is like something which is really horrifying. It looks like the driver is seated here. And it's the same with the Leopard series. The ammunition is stored right beside him. So basically, if, well, the tank got hit into the ammunition storage, the driver was just simply dead because he would burst or combust into flames. I really don't know why exactly it had to be stood right beside the driver, but oh well. Rest in pieces, Mr. Driver. And lastly, the whole armor in general is rather weak. 76mm in the front, it can bounce something, but it can even side scratch slightly because it has the rather big, it has a good angle, let's say it like this when you hold down. To the side armor it's only 50mm thick, but you have rather thick tracks and side skirts, so that could help. And on the rear, 38mm. My biggest problem sometimes though, which I didn't list it here, is that this tank has rather low module damage, which is kind of annoying because, well, it happened to me that I couldn't detrack an E4 and he gave me for that the ticket back to garage. Because he simply was just, like he was driving up from a hill and I could easily detrack him. I hit the front road wheel and it didn't done shit. I was just like, this is fine. I'm okay with this. Actually, no, I'm not okay with this. Anywho, we are done with the stats. Let's look what the game gave us. There we go. It was apparently an ace tanker, which, well, it actually also surprised me, to be honest, that it was an ace tanker game. But then when we look more into the stats, you see 2800 damage, 5 kills. Well, that's something which is rather good for a tier 8 tank in a tier 9 battle. Especially when this tier 8 tank is more suited for range engagement than brawling, even though with this rather strong turret, brawling is a valid option. I'm surprised. RT did 3k damage. I personally always thought that Wargaming said RT is not OP anymore. RT doesn't do any damage anymore. But then I remember a game which I could have carried, but I lost 700 damage to 2 artillery pieces and constant stun. And then I remember another game I could have carried 500 damage plus 772 damage by fire, making me a one-shot for the enemy rule. All in the Primo Victoria Stridswagen 81. Yeah, I don't know why it was an RT target, but it was kind of annoying. Anyway, 18 shots, 15 hits, 14 pens. I also have to say that this 15-14 is actually a rather strong result. Because it also happened to me that I quite missed some shots, and because APCR is more prone to bouncing, it happens even when you have the T-34 turret on the side, and in the back leg it has those curves down where the ammunition storage is stored. Ammunition is stored, there we go. And when you hit in a bad angle, you just bounce it off, and well, this is kind of annoying. But as you can see, the standard penetration is already rather high with 226. And well, I didn't have to shoot any gold, I didn't lost much of HP, and we did quite some money. And certainly have to say, if you play this tank on spotting support tank, like having the 445 plus view range, plus this kind of rather good and decent gunnery, you can make a lot of money with this tank. Why exactly? Because you get assistant damage for free in quotation marks or air quotation marks, because sure, you need to get in range to spot them, but if you spot them, you don't need to do anything for that. Like, let's for example take Prokhorovka, the middle, on the side where the train tracks is. Most of the time there is a brawl with mediums or heavy tanks, which are, when there's the train track, the people are here and they're like pew, 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 and sometimes look onto the hill, which is you as the camera. And well, if you position yourself there with a Centurion or with the Primo Victoria, and you position yourself there and peek a little bit over and spot the people which are all on the side, the peeps from the hill can shoot at them, giving you a little bit of spotting damage every now and then. Maybe sometimes you're the only one which is spotting, and for example, when up there is a TD camping, shooting at 700 damage shots, this, well, you get rather fast, rather good amount of spotting damage. And this is also really good for your gun marks. So if anybody wants to make a gun mark on this tank, spotting is the way to go. Hashtag skill for LTU things. Anyway, anywho, I need more words for this. Can I say that this tank is really good, or can I approve it? Is it Raptor approved? And I have to say no. It is certainly not a bad credit earner if you like to play the Centurion 1 series, if you like to have a rather bouncy turret which can hold off quite a bunch of targets, even tier 10 heavy tanks. But you also, when you also like this snipish and good view range, when you can play around with view range, then it's not a bad tank at all. But the problem is, sure, you get a free BR crew, which is great. Seriously, everything with zero skill BR is, in my opinion, almost pay to win, because you get a free skill, and a free skill when you're at 5 skill crews, a free skill is worth around 1.4 million experience or something like that. That's a frick ton. It's a lot. And you get it here for free. Sadly though, you will most likely only use it on the Sabaton tank or the Primo Victoria, because there is simply no use for this crew either. You could use it on your tier 6 Stridswagen Premium if you still have it, or if you even have it. You could use it on a Leo, but the problem is the crew layout is a little bit different, and then what do? Do you rip those crew members apart? And if you do that, well, then you don't really have a crew anymore for the Primo Victoria, because there's simply no tier 10 medium tanks of the Swedish tech tree. And also in the super test, also in some news, there are nothing about them coming to the game. So I have to say that this tank is not Raptor proof. It makes, well, a good amount of money, and you get a free crew, and if you like Sabaton, you will hear your lead singer blaring out things like, "God damn it, are you really kidding me that we just bounced that?" and things like that. Legit, they have their own lines, and it's actually funny to listen to them for some time. But after all, it's just simply a premium tank for me. It needs to be a good crew trainer, plus it needs to make money. And this tank simply doesn't fulfill both criterias. Also, tier 8 matchmaking. Speaking of which, I need to rant a little bit now. So the quick review is over. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, now let me rant a little bit. I really do hope that 9.20 makes this matchmaking a little bit better with taking out so many tier 10 tanks for their 30 versus 30 battle mode, because Jesus Christ, tier 8 is freaking abysmally bad to play right now. Like, today it happened, like, it gets frustrating when you see that your mouse is doing jack shit with its 48% win rate, and you're just like in your Stridswagen 81 in this Primo Victoria trying to fight the freaking IS-7, which is just, he's just yawing you because he knows you can't out DPM him. He knows that you don't have enough sufficient armor to hold him off. And well, your penetration still lacks when as soon as the snout is a little bit lower, you can't penetrate his lower plate because of the APCR. And This feels like bad. It really feels bad, and it angers me, and this makes me rage. Seriously, this is why I'm called RagingRaptor. I raged back then, like in that game. It was just so frustrating to see our mouse doing absolutely jack shit, driving around in the middle of a field, and even though we're losing the game, or Waffenträger of Panzer IV not even help me, even though standing behind me. I'm just like, oh well, this is fine. I get overrun by a Batchat 12 Tom, which is shooting gold on a Centurion 1 premium tank, and an Ice 4, which is just YOLOing me. Ice 7, excuse me. And this is something which annoys the freaking hell out of me. Wargaming said, oh yes, with the new 357 system, the tier 8 tanks, or the tanks which are in the 7th street will always have enough people to fight against. No! If you are a good player, your task is to save your tank, save your HP, because you as a good player want to do damage. And how do you do damage? When you live long enough, or am I right? You want to put DPM into the game. And what happens most of the time of the end? Well, in a 357 system, most of the time the tier 10 tanks are still alive because they have more HP, more armor, probably more speed, more gunpowder. Yay! Feels fun, seriously, feels fun. Sometimes I really, no, I'm pretty sure the old Matchmaker was better because it was kind of adaptive. Sure, it was shit when you were in a 10 to 3 battle where like 10 tier 10 tanks and you were one of the only 2 tier 8 tanks. Well, that was shit, yes. But at least it was not like garbage where you're 24/7 in a tier, 23/7 in a tier 10 game. And a half hour of those 24 hours you are in a tier 9 game, and the other half hour and the other 15 minutes you're in the tier 8 only game, and the rest of the 15 minutes you are top tier. Okay, I think I ranted enough. Anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and good luck on the battlefield. Bye bye.